All right, cool. So we're going to start with who we are section. That's what we're going to jump onto the next. So we have our main wrapper. Inside of it, we have section hero, which handles the hero section, and section what we offer, which handles this what we offer section. Now we're going to add another div block. So on top of our main wrapper, we want to add a new section that is going to handle who we are section. So we are done with this section. Now let's move on to this who we are section. And if you are following well, the first thing is you add your first div block. So it's under here, which is this white space that you see here now. That div block, we're just going to call it section who we are. Section who we are. That's the name of the section, and you want to go to settings and tag it to be a section. Very important. Tag it to be a section here, and inside of it you want to create your foundation, your foundational block, like I've been saying, which is the client first foundation. So you're going to bring in a div block here, and inside of this div block you want to call this padding global. That's the first thing. Inside of the padding global, you bring in another div block, and you're going to call this container large. And inside of that again, you're going to bring in another div block, and you're going to call it padding section large. And yep, that's it. So we've created this, and this. Okay, someone has a question. Hannah, okay, shoot.
I'm sorry, I just wanted to ask, like, is the Figma kind of available?
Yeah. If you just scroll through the chat section.
Yeah. I'll try to be sure by scroll.
Yeah. It is. Just scroll, you see it up.
Alright. Cool.
Yeah, because there are two. The particular one we're working on is from Yasmin. You'll see it, yes, Sun District. Okay. And after that, so we've built up until this point, padding section large. Now we have this big white space because, like I said, this padding section large is adding padding top and bottom. So it has created more white space. Now from this section, this is where you start, going further and becoming creative. Now, if you look at our design here, you have to understand your design. Now, if you study your design here, we have first, we have two sections. We have two items. This is the first one. This is how you break your design. You have to break your design in your head, understand the layout. Every design you see is built out of layouts, different layouts. If you look at it with, a biased mind, you may not get the point. You may think, this is kind of a hard layout too. But if you look at it with just be calm and study it, you see that this who we are and this text, they are in one div block. It is one. Then all this image is another one. So we have inside of a big box, inside of a div block, because you have to have the overall div block that will house everybody. So the first thing you want to create your overall div block that will house everybody. Secondly, you want to create another div block that will house just these two. Thirdly, you want to create another div block that will house all this image. That's how you should read it. That's how it should be in your head. You must have broken it down in your mind, in your head. Once you understand it like that, then you can go ahead and implement it. So the first thing we want to do, we want to create a component that will house everybody. And that's what we're going to call, so inside of the padding section large, we'll bring in a div block. This will serve as our components. We're going to call it, who we are component. Just say who we are underscore component. See, this is the component. This is how it is. It's just chilling here. Now, inside of this who we are components, following all the structures that we've been creating before, we want to still create another div block inside of it, to call it who we are content. All right, just for simplicity. Inside of it, I'm going to create another div block, and I'm going to call it. Or even if you don't want to go through that route, okay, who has a question to shoot?
Yeah, so I want to question. Does that we are component? Can you also be called who we are?
Yes, you can say who we are rapper. You understand? At this point, you are free to name it whatever. You can say who we are rapper. Yeah, you can.
The name you are making an influence that because I watch one of the series YouTube. That kind of layer you use to name it that's for rapper. That's why I asked.
Yeah, you can call it rapper. Sure you get. Yeah, you can be very flexible. You can just call it whatever you want to call it. Sure you get. You can call it rapper. So yeah. Okay, so after that, okay. So after that, you want to be able to so we are who we are components. Now, this is the overall component, yeah. So inside of the who we are component, you want to create a div block that is going to handle this first part, which is this part and this part, the heading and the text. That's what we're going to create. So that is what this div block is for. What do we name it? You can say who we are. Just I'm giving it name that will make sense to whoever is looking at your navigation, so that by the name the person can be able to understand what this div block is for, or what is inside this div block. Since we are creating who we are section, every name I'll most likely be using would be around who we are, so that whatever elements you are using, or whatever how you're naming your class will make sense, because it's particular to the who we are section. So I'll just be using who we are this, who we are that. It helps so that you will not mistake another class name for this particular one. So they are all custom to who we are section. If you don't understand, you can ask. So I'm going to create this inside of this who we are component. I have a div block. This div block will handle the heading and the paragraph, and I want to call this div block who we are. Maybe I'll say who we are heading. Now who we are. Okay, no, I'll just say no, I wouldn't want to call it content. You can call it content to just depend on me. I want to say who we are text. Okay, let's say who we are text item or text wrapper. Okay, let's say text wrapper. So because that part is just text, which is paragraph and heading, so I'm going to call it who we are text wrapper. All right. So yep, that's the name of, that's what I want to call it. It can be anything, but just make it make sense. Let it be particular. Now, inside of my who we are component, mind you, not inside of this one. No, I'll go back to my who we are component. Now I want to bring in another div block that is going to handle this image part. So I'll go back inside of the components, bring in a div block. Now this div block is under here, and I'm going to call it who we are images. Who we are images. Who we are underscore images. Sorry. Oops. Who we are underscore images. Images wrapper. Yep. So it's going to wrap all our images for us. Now, notice who we are component has, why is this? This is very annoying. So let me do that again. Div block, and I'm going to call that, oh man, sorry, undo. Okay. We are text wrapper. Who we are underscore images wrapper. Okay, so now we have this component having two children, the text wrapper and the image wrapper. But if you notice in your layouts, they are all vertically stacked, which doesn't make sense. I want it to be horizontally stacked like this. Image, text, and image, like horizontal, like this. But from our design, our layout, they are up and down. We don't want that. Now, before I go further, inside of this who we are text wrapper, two things are inside: heading and paragraph. So inside of the who we are wrapper, I'm going to bring in a heading. Now, what heading are we talking about? This is more like a H3 heading. We've already styled this inside our style guide. It's 48, like a H3. So I'll just pick H3. Once you pick H3, it's going to shrink and become smaller. And yep. And this is 2rem. So this is not correct. It's not H3. 2rem is 32 pixels. All right. 2rem is 32 pixels. And here we have 48. So this is our H2. H2 is 48. So I'm just going to click these settings and say H2. So this is more like it. So H2 is now 3rem. 3rem is 48 pixels. If you still don't understand this part, you can ask question. Now we have the heading. Mind you, we are inside of our who we are text wrapper. Inside of it, notice the arrow. We have the H2, and I'll bring in a paragraph. Now we have the paragraph. So we have sorted out the who we are text wrapper. I am not yet styling it. I'm just bringing in the elements. We'll style it any moment from now. So I'll go into my who we are image wrapper. I'll go into it and say, okay, this is the part for this image. Now, decisions. Different people might take different approach for this image. Somebody might download this entire 4 image as one image. Somebody may download this entire 4 image as one image and just use it like that. Another person may have a different approach. He or she might separate it, have this big image and have these 3 smaller ones underneath it. Now, it depends on what you want to do. It depends on the style that you want to use. Maybe because you want to, maybe if you have plans to add animations or interactions on this 3 image, or if the prototype has an interaction on this 3 image. Let's say, for instance, when you hover on this image, it should grow bigger. When you hover on this one, it grows bigger, and with shadow, maybe a very subtle shadow. If that is what the prototype is saying, then you may want to download this image individually and create this layout in Webflow. So that means you will not download the entire 4 image as one. But for the course of this, I am going to download the entire 4 image as one. And that's what I'm going to do. I'll just click on this frame here and I'll go to export and I will make it maybe 1.5 PNG and I'll just export it. So what I've just done, I download the entire 4 image as one. I'll go back to my Webflow. Inside of the who we are image wrapper, I'm going to bring in an image element, put it inside, choose an image and drag that image I've downloaded into my assets. Boom. So we have that single 4 image as one. From this side, you can reduce, if you feel it's too big, you can reduce it from here. Notice how I'm dragging it from this edge, because there's a node here. You can just click and drag and make it any size that you feel it's okay. And I'll stop here. Now we have everything all set up, easily done. Now inside of the who we are text wrapper, we have heading and paragraph. Inside of the who we are images wrapper, we have this image, but in our own, they are stacked vertically. We want them to be stacked horizontally. What do we do? Who has a question should ask?
I do. Just an observation. With the section hero part that we did, based on the structure, you had the initial section hero components, and then you had the paragraph, and you had the header inside it. Then, if you go to that, I'll just read what I'm trying to talk about. I'm trying to compare those 2 sections. This last section goes down.
Yeah.
A bit consistent and structured compared to the section hero, where all the child just flowed the buttons wasn't right under the section arrow.
Like this one.
Yes, yeah. So with this particular one, you've wrapped the contents together into one rather than leaving them separate.
Okay. Now it is different because it depends. The approach you're going to use is dependent on your design or the layout you have on the Figma. Now, because in this hero section, these whole 3 items are stacked vertically: heading, paragraph, button. So after my padding section large, I created a hero component. After the hero component, I still went, this hero component, I did not touch it, I did not style it. It's just serving as the parent of the parent component that is housing everybody inside of it. Now, inside of the hero component, I now created a hero content. Now, I could have just started putting heading into my hero component if I want, but I went one step further to create a hero content. Now, inside of this hero content is where I now started adding heading, paragraph, and button. So for me to stack these 3 items vertically, I need to style my hero content. I have no issues. I have no problem touching hero component. So everything I'm going to style to make sure the children are in order, everything is going to happen under of hero content. That is why it's like this. So it is the layout is dependent on the design you have on your Figma. Do you understand? Yeah. But for this course now, this section, you have to also break it. Like I said, you have to break every section in your head. Understand what you want to do. Understand the approach you want to make. If you are just getting started as a beginner, you most likely want to have a pen and a paper to be able to scribble out how you want to tackle this section. Don't just jump into Webflow and say, okay, you will just get confused. If you get a pen and a paper, you might say, okay, this section, who we are, and the paragraph and the heading would be inside of a div block. Okay, you will note that down. This image would be inside another div block. You will note that down. You will now have an overall div block housing all of them that you're going to call this or that. Okay, who has a question should go for it.
Yeah, so now you just imported the images as one image. But if we were to import the 4 images individually, would we need 4 div blocks or still 1 div block?
If like I did, okay, if you were to get
them one by one.
There's a way to go about that. What you're going to do, if we were to do it one by one, I don't know if we should do that. Should we?
Yes.
Should we go through that out?
Yes.
Okay, let's go through the longer route.
Yeah.
Okay, I adequately ask.
Yeah, I mean, if you are going to do that longer route, I mean, you're going to use a grid, right?
Yeah, we most likely use a grid. Okay, let's go through the longer route. Okay, cool. Now, inside of our who we are image, let me delete this one. Let me delete that image. But before now, the image has been deleted. Or let me just go back. Now, I want to make them stack vertically. Now they are all stacked horizontally, up and down. What do? I will go to the parent. Just be playing it in your head. Once you sort it out on paper, how can this be stacked horizontally? You will go to the parent, which is who we are component, and you will tell the parent, this parent is having these 2 children. And you will tell the parent, hey, display your children vertically, horizontally, which is flexbox, horizontal, space between. This justifies space between. Now notice how we have this first guy here, this second guy here. All right. Now this first guy is not looking as it is on our design. On our design, we have the width from here to here, which is about roughly 730 pixels. All right. But our own is spanning all the way from here It doesn't make sense. But before we go any further, let me just copy the text here, copy it and paste it here. And let me also go and copy the other one, all of this text, copy it from here, and let me paste it here and hit enter. And let me go and copy the last part from here, and I would paste it here. Now we have this, but it is just very long. What do we do? I will go to the who we are text wrapper, which is the parent. Like I said last time, do not come here and start pressing enter and start doing enter. Don't do that. You are spoiling your design. You are killing the layout. It is not recommended to add that break manually. All you need to do is you want to go to the who we are text wrapper, which is this div block that is having the heading and the paragraph. Go there and you see width. Because this is having 100%, because there is no width, the width is set to auto. So what is happening now, why it's like this? Because the width is set to auto, it is taking the height or the width of the element, and this element is non-ending, just a launch bunch text. That is why it's like this. But for you to limit it or restrict it, I would say I want this width to be 50%. I want to use percent. I want you, because right now this width is at 100%. This who we are text is at 100%, but then I want you to be 50%. That means I want you to be half of what it is now, 50%. I hit enter. So now this width is now 50%. Now the commercial is now here, and this and is moved to the next line. Let's go and check our design. Our design, solar energy, is the last word. Now I need to go back and say, okay, I need solar energy to be the last word. What do? I go back to the who we are text wrapper, and from 50%, I want to tone it down to maybe 40%. I'll test 40%. I'll be like, okay, it's still too long. I'll say, okay, maybe 35%. 35% is still too long, maybe 30%. And yes, 30% is perfect. So what this means is 30, I set my who we are text wrapper to be 30%. So it is just 30% of its entire 100%. That's how percentage works. 30% of its entire 100%. So we are done with this part. But then maybe this heading is too close to the paragraph. This heading is too close to the paragraph. I will go to the who we are text wrapper again, and I'll tell it, before you ask, let me just finish this last words, and I'll go to the who we are text wrapper, and I would say, oh, these two children, heading and paragraph inside of you, I want to set you to display flexbox, but vertical. So vertical now displays both of them vertically. Now I can now add vertical gap, which is for the row. I'll now add vertical gap. You see, I'm creating space. So it's now left for me to say, okay, I just need 2 rem of space. Maybe 2 rem is too much. 1 rem of space. And yes, this is okay. And we are done with the first part. Okay, who has a question should ask?
What if you put both the header and the body text in different div blocks? That was also to put who we are, the text, the heading text we are. On the end, we have one div block that has both header and body text.
Are you sure I can hear you like this? Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah, it's just.
You have the body text and the header text inside one div block.
Yes.
You put everything in that one div block. Who we are, one div block. One div block.
Not div block. It's inside of this who we are text wrapper. It's wrapping everything text, which is heading and paragraph.
I don't see. I'm one div block.
paragraph one block, but of inside the joining one.
It's possible, but that would be plenty abuse of div blocks. Yeah, that would be like lots of div blocks. You now have div blocks. Having heading will have div block, paragraph will have div block.
Block, it helps you to like.
Yeah, it helps. Yeah, it helps you to style, Abby. For styling, Abby. For the sake of styling.
Yeah, like use control.
Yeah. Yeah, div block gives you control to be able to style elements. Use div block instead of styling. For instance, what it means, instead of changing this, for instance, these two heading and paragraph, instead of changing the two colors to red individually, I will just come to the div block, which is this one, and go to the color here and change it to red. It changes the two children. Yeah, I get that. But now it depends if that this paragraph has an extra element inside of it. For instance, like a button. If that like a button is tied to this paragraph, then you can create a div block to handle the paragraph and the button together. But it is just single, because right now, if I want to style this heading color red, I will just create a class specifically to touch this guy. If I mean to change this guy to red, this who we are to red, I will just say I will just create a text color red, text color red, class, just as we have text color black, text color gray, text color white. Right now, if I choose text color gray, it changes it to gray. You understand? So I'll just style them based on, following client first as a style guy. I'll just use a style from what we have from client first. Right now, because of how this layout is, there is no need for me to put this paragraph in a div block alone and this heading in a div block alone. If there is a need from the design, or if the design is that complex and I need to, then I will. But right now it's just simple black heading and simple paragraph, nothing complex. Sure you get. So that's why I said you have to be able to look at your design first and break it down. If there's a need to single them in div blocks, yeah, sure, why not? All right, so this first part is done. So we are done with this who we are text wrapper. Now moving on to this who we are images. Okay, who has a question? All right.
Yeah, I don't know if it's just me, but the paragraph, the font size seems to be smaller than the design.
Yeah, it happens all the time. This heading looks big, Abby.
The paragraph seems to be smaller.
Okay, the paragraph seems to be smaller. Okay. All right, let me sort that out. Now, if I come to the design, this is 2 rems, 32 pixels. Okay, yeah, that's true. So if I go to my development, what I want to do is, and this is 1 rem. Okay, yeah. So what I want to do, I will just use a class that is built inside of client first. So we'll just use that and say text size large. Boom. Text size large will set the size to 2 rem. So exactly what we have here, the size is now equals to what we have on our design. But right now, the last word here is solar energy, but because of this text is now big, we no longer have that solar energy because of that 30% that we set. So I'll go back to the div block who we are text wrapper and I'll make it 40%. It's still not there. Make it 50%. Good. Maybe 55%. Maybe 56%. Yep. And I'll stop here. So at 56%, this is what we have. Who we are, heading. Okay, ask.
Yes, thank you very much. So, my only just little suggestion right now because of how we're giving this. So I feel is it like for this session, we want a good developer. I mean, that gives like two sections. So there's one that you explain one time. I mean, if for instance you're using a video, you have like section the you have parted the side of the div into like 50, and it will probably be easy to adjust the.
Like how? I don't understand. Come again. Like,
I mean, I'm saying that for this session, for the design of this session, now what you design like use a grid. Since I do take for instance two session, like two equal half of the session.
uh-huh. So use a grid, yeah?
Yeah, I'm just saying, is it like
Yeah. You can. Exactly. That's another angle. Like I said, when you start making design decisions or development decisions, you can mute. When you start making development decisions, there are 1 million, maybe 5 ways another person might handle building this section. Now, what he was saying is, what if instead of using, because I did who we are component, made it flexbox horizontal, and inside of it, we have this guy and this guy. What if this who we are component is a grid? What if it's a grid, which is another way? So I will, instead of clicking flexbox horizontal, I'll just come and click grid, CSS grid, boom. Now what that will do, it's going to make these two children a grid, first column and second column equally. Now there will be no need for me to do or set this first guy to 56% or something like that. This is the beauty of using grid. Most times it just saves you lots of stress, which is another angle. So these are like design or development decisions. So I'll just come here and say, hey, I don't want you anymore because I'm using grid. I don't need to try to set you to be something. So I'll just take away this 56% and boom, we have this our who we are component as a grid, and the two children are set to 2 columns. First one, second one. This first guy is handling the entire text. Second one is handling the image, having 2 equal spacing. Now, to be able to create a reasonable amount of space like what we have here, this is even perfect. It's just a very tiny 29. If you notice, it's a 29 space in between. Let's assume 30 pixel space in between. I'll just go to my design, come and click on this grid. I want to edit the grid because I want to add a gap within the column, maybe 30 pixel, and give or take 30 pixel would be, let's say 1.5 rem, assume maybe 1.65 rem is 30 pixel. So yeah, that is all I need to do, and boom, easily we are done with that. But this image, easily we are done with that. If I click on preview, this is what we have. This is what we have. But let us create this image section separately. Let's not use it as one image like this, because I may want to add animation or interaction to these 3 different image. This can be possible because, it's like this. That is why most times as you are going through the prototype, just understand the design. The prototype can have animations that has hover animation, hover. So if you pick it as one image, you cannot add interactions. So let's go and create it from scratch. So now I will go to this who we are images. Now, mind you, I want to align this who we are images wrapper. I want to align the image to the right hand side. It is too close to the text. I want to align it to be on this side. I will just come here and say justify end. I am on the parents who we are image wrapper, and I'll say I want to justify its end. See, it is moving the children, it is moving the child, which is the image itself. I can say, be in the middle. I can say, okay, go to the left, middle, end, middle, left. See? So that's how you manipulate the child while being on the parent, right? It is, so that's alignment. So now we have a reasonable amount of space here. So if I go to preview, this is what we have. So yeah, have that in mind. So you see, this is how it is, which is good. Good. So no questions at this point. Now let us try to create this from scratch. Now I'm just going to delete this image here. Boom, deleted. So we have this div block for the right hand side. I'll go and look at my design again and I'll study my design. How am I going to approach this? I will either use grid, which is most likely going to be the easiest way. Yeah, let's say grid or flexbox, anyone. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to do a 3x3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, a 3x2 grid. This is what I'm going to do. I am on my, okay, I am on this who we are image wrapper. Yeah, I am on it. I'm going to say, I want to set you to display grid. See, I've set it to display grid. We have this grid or this column, another column here, another, item here. So we have 2x2. This. But what I really want, if you look at our design, what we really want is 1, 2, 3. So we want 3 row and the 3 row and 2 column, let's call it. We want to create something that will look like this. Maybe 2 row and 3 column, because 1, 2, 3 and 1, 2. So yeah, let's create something like that. So I'm going to add another column by clicking on this duplicate here. Boom. Good. So this is exactly what I want. So this 1, 2, 3, we handle the image below, and this entire top part, this entire 3 parts, we handle the image at the top. Now we'll stop here and I'll say done. If you're done, go and click done. So it's going to look like this. And what I want to do, I'm going to bring in now how this grid works. Grid is magic. As you're bringing any item or element into your grid div block, it is going to help you arrange it inside of a particular cell, because these are series of cells. Cell 1, cell 2, cell 3, cell 4, cell 5, cell 6. So let us bring a first image. So I bring an image. See how it has helped us arrange it inside the first cell. It has helped us arrange it inside the first cell. But what do I want to do? I want this first cell or this first image to cover this entire 3 blocks. 1, 2, 3. It's very simple. I want this image to let me even add an image. Let me choose an actual image. So I'll have to go and download this image, this single image. So yeah, I've exported that single image, exported, and let us make it this first guy here. So I drag it into my assets and boom, we have that single image. But I want this single image to fill in these 3 blocks, these 3 other cells. From here, I will just drag like this. You see how it's changing to blue? That's what I'm doing. I'm feeding it up. 1, 2, 3. Not down, no. Just this first 3. Boom. That means this one image has covered the 3 cell. That's the first thing. That's simple. Now, if I bring in another, we have just one image. What if I bring in another image inside? If I bring in another image, it's going to automatically fill up this place because these 3 cells are now filled up. So it moves on to the next cell for you by default. So let us bring in another image. So I bring in another image. See how it just came down here by itself. All right. So I'll go back here and download this single image and I'll export it. And I'll try to download the second one too. And I'll export it. Download this third one and I'll export it. So go back to my Webflow and say, okay, since we are here, let me bring the first image that we've downloaded. This one. So yeah, it's there. it is right here. Now we have just 2 images, 1, 2. Going back to add another image, and I say I want to add another image, and I add, it's going to automatically come here, and I'm going to choose an image, and I would drag from what I've downloaded, and it's going to fill up that space. And I'm going to add another image, and choose, and I'm going to bring up the last image, and boom, we have those 3 images. So we just need to do some small settings so that we can, arrange it very well, because we are having too much space here. Now here we have just 21, or let's say 20 pixel of space. How do I sort that out? Go back to my design, and I will notice that this image is not utilizing all the space. It is stopping at this point, whereas it's supposed to fill up everywhere. What do? I am clicking on the image. I'll test different possibilities. I'll click on the image, and I would say, okay, I want to align you. Look at this, align you, stretch, align, stretch. Let's see what is going to happen if I click on stretch, and boom, I click on stretch. It has now stretched the image to fill up the entire box. See, to fill up the entire box. But maybe the image is now stretched. If you notice, the image is now stretched. Let us try and do it again. Before it was like this. Perfect. If I say top or start. If I say align center. If I say align bottom. I might want to do this, but we would have some weird space also at the top, which I don't know if it makes sense. Let us look at our design. It doesn't make sense. The image is perfectly fitted in the entire box. Now, the best thing to do is to leave it at stretch. After that, you want to scroll down to fit. Scroll down to this fit. But before I do that, let me try doing that fit thing on Who We Are wrapper. Fit and do cover. But nope, it's not going to work. Go back to your image and say fit, fill. You click on the drop down and you want to select cover. Cover is going to help you cover the entire, or fill up the entire cell without having the whole stretch thing, without stretching the image. Before it was like this. If you are a professional designer, you would know that this image is stretched, and stretchy image are unprofessional. Doesn't make sense. Some people might want to stop at here after saying stretch. Nope. Go back to this fit and say cover. So now by saying cover, it will correct that stretchiness. That is what you want to do. By saying cover, it has added a weird class name for us. So you want to not leave it as image. Always name your classes. You want to call this particular image Who We Are top image. See? Who We Are top image. So people know that, okay, this is who we are. It's inside Who We Are image wrapper. Inside of Who We Are image wrapper, we still have Who We Are image top, or top image. It's easier like that. Now we have corrected that spacing here. Now everybody wins. Everything is just given. So that is how you handle that to make this guy separate. Now you can feel free to style each of these guys individually, or add interaction, or add hover animations or interactions. So yeah, do we understand how this was created? Okay, who has a question should ask?
I don't know if you noticed that the main image, the top image, has a radius, but it has, since we use cover, the radius are not there.
Yeah, I know that's a very good question, a very good observation. Now, how do we sort that out? How do we sort that out? Since we have a unique class name for that top image and you want to bring back the radius, which is the curved edge, because we took it out from fill, it was having the curved edges, but now we say cover, it no longer has curved edges, which is very weird, which is very, very weird, which is a very good question. Now we have this one is having a unique class, so this class is particular to just this image. I will not use it anywhere, so I can now go scroll down to radius and add the corner radius manually, and I will drag, boom, and we are back. I can say 1 rem of corner radius, and boom, we are back to corner radius. Capish? Do you get? Understood? All right, Anna, shoot.
So if it was like multiple images that we wanted to apply the radius to, we have to do a combo class, right? One image that you wanted to affect.
Yes, if you
You
can.
want to do a combo class, right?
Yeah, if it's just one image you are affecting like this, just since it's a unique class, just do it on that. If you need to do it on other images too, either you are using the same class name or you are using the class name plus a combo class. Yes,
Okay.
you can utilize the combo class or you can use the same class name. If something big will change, if it is not the same with, if you're adding more styling plus corner radius to another one, then yeah, utilize combo class because you are adding more styling, not just radius, not just corner radius. Do you get?
Yeah.
Okay, so yep. Any other question at this point? Any other question? Okay, we are good. We are good. All right. So this is what we have now. We have this, which is looking good, which is looking really solid. So yeah, by default, it is even almost responsive without doing too much. That is what I keep saying. If you do a good job having the proper core structure and understanding it first, please, as beginners, you might want to, not as beginners, we still have pro here. I think my boss, Michael, is here. Most likely, is he here? Michael is not here. Okay, Michael left. Okay, yeah. You may want to start by, scribbling it on paper. Understand your design first, or understand a design first on paper. This one is the component, then inside of it, content left and right. So I'm going to flexbox the parents to put them side by side, or if it's going to be vertical, I'm going to flexbox the parents vertical to make it up and down. Understand it like that first. If you understand it, implementing it will be very easy. Implementing it will be straightforward. But right now, I can do it without scribbling on paper because everything don't in my head. If I look at the design, I already know what to pieces, how to go about it. 2 seconds. Am I using Flexbox or Grid? Am I doing this or that? All the decisions, I've made them in my head. Every layout is already in my head. So yeah, but before when I started, I used to do it like that on paper first. Let me understand it on paper. Because if you jump right into Webflow without breaking the layouts, every layout in your head, I think you would most likely be frustrated. So yeah, we are done with that section. It's almost responsive without even doing too much on the mobile view. See how it's responsive. You see how it's looking good, very good, safe, without doing too much. I just need to do small touch to make it perfect. See, this is the beauty of using foundation and having a good structure. So yeah, that's that about that. So we'll move on to the next section, which is, okay, if you have a question, you ask.
Sorry, if you look at the Figma file, I just wanted to confirm, previously when we were using the percentages to align the solar energy, I think with this, what we have now, is it aligned with what we have on the Figma file?
Yeah, I think it should be. Okay, let me see, because it should be from here.
It's on a different line now.
Okay, so the
solar
line,
energy.
okay. Okay, what I need to do is just to come here now and say this solar energy needs to come here as well. Okay, so I'll just go to the component, which is this who we are component, which is the grid. I'll go there and I will reduce this gap from 1.65 to maybe 1.5, maybe 1.2, maybe 1 rem. So let's try 1 rem and see. And I'll say view. If I drag it, okay, it's still on that. So what do I do again? I will go back to
I think what you can do is to change the grids. So the one we have is 1.5 FR, and the other one we have the remaining FR.
Okay,
So
let's
if
try
you
that.
click on the edit here, and you can see on the
This
top
first
you have
one.
1 FR.
Okay, let's try 1.5. Okay, yeah, that works too. That's very solid. Let's try 1.25. 1.5 is the best then. So yeah, 1.5 FR. So yeah, making this solar energy come there. Yeah, that's a very good observation. Yep, we have that now. So looking good. Looking very good. Very responsive without even doing too much. So yeah, that's about that. So we have this, and we have this. So moving on to the next. Next. I like you guys to sort this out. So like, just imagine someone just say, "Oh, I'm done with it." You know, giving from what I've learned, I've done everything, and just share your screen. That would be really nice. I'll really be very impressed. So let's do this, our project. Again. Before we start, we break it in our head. Our project is a standalone heading. That one is there on its own. Now we have this section that has a lot of images, text and subtext and paragraph and button and text. How do we do? First things first, know that all of this is wrapped into a component. This entire thing, see it as a component, which we're going to call our project component. That's the first breakdown. Second thing is we are going to say this first part from this image down to all of these guys, down to all of this and this image, they are all one left hand side. Why these two guys, this small text and this button, right hand side? That's the second way I'll break it. Now, still inside of this one now, I'm going to use grid to align this image with all of this text. It's very easy. So let's go and start. What do I do? We are done with this. Section who we are. We have section hero, section what we offer, section who we are. Whoever opens your Webflow, we know that this guy is very highly professional, because you have everything all inside, like well arranged. So whoever is looking at it can at least have an idea of what you're doing. Section hero. Oh, that means the hero section. Nice. He opens it and you see, oh wow, very nice, well arranged. I mean, this is really beautiful to look than having div block 56, div block 98, whatever, how just when I started too, it was like that. Lots of div blocks, classes here and there. I didn't know what I was doing. I was just scattering things up and down and it was chaotic. But right now, look at how we just sorted out this guy using very simple terms and straight to the point, stuff, which is very cool. If you now move on to the next section, what we offer, someone can easily say, oh, this is the section, this is what we offer. Nice. So look at what he did. Everything is just section by section. Now let us go and let us create a new, inside of our main wrapper, let's create a new div block. Boom. We have it under here. We are going to call it section underscore projects. Section projects. Like I said, always go to settings and change it from tag it from div block to section. This is very important though. You will never see me miss doing it. Sometimes you want to forget, but don't. So after that, you want to follow the course structure. Is Yasmin still here? Yasmin, are you following?
Yes, I'm still here.
All right, cool. Okay. Like I said, you want to follow again the course structure. Very important. Before you follow this thing 3-4 times, it's all in your head. The first course structure is what? Who will remind me? Who can? Nice. You guys are amazing. Padding global. Where is it? Padding global. The next one is what?
Container.
Are you sure it's container? Are we sure?
Yes.
Just container. Are you sure it's just container?
Container large.
Okay, container large. Nice. Container large. Now the next thing is what? Inside of it is what?
Padding section.
All right, cool. Instead of it, we're gonna use padding section large. Padding section large. Good. So we now have that structure. Now inside of padding section large, we are going to use a component that we are going to call projects underscore component. Boom. Now we are going to now breathe and say, okay, nice one. But if you look at this guy here, look at our project. It's not having too much plenty space under who we are. But look at our own now, it's having like plenty white space. Why is that? Because this padding section large is creating extra space. The former one that we used for this guy is also has also given you its own extra space under. So we see plenty 7 rem here, and now you now added another one, more 7 rem here. That's why you have this ridiculous amount of space. Now what do we do? How do we tackle it? You're going to say, okay, how are we going to do? I do not want to use padding section large for my section project. I don't want to use it at all because this first padding section large has 7 rem under. That is the space that will make up for the next section. So we do not want to create more 7 rem of space. This is how you think as a developer, because plenty space, so many white space. If the design permits for all those white space, if this our project section has lots of white space, you can most likely leave it. But as it stands now, see, no much white space, just this few. So let's go and say, I don't want to use padding section large. Take it out. I've taken it out. So we have just div block. What I want to use instead, I want to use maybe padding section none. Maybe padding section none, which I created, which is just 0 rem, just for the sake of consistency. But I may not even use padding section at all. I may just, after container large, jump on into project components. See? But let's just leave that padding section none, because why not? But even like that, I think we still have much space, but let's work with this. Now, inside of the project components, what do we do next? We are going to add a div block that is going to handle just this, our project heading. Mind you, this div block is going to handle our project and this arrow here. So let us bring in a div block inside of the project components. We're going to bring in a div block and we're going to call that div block project heading wrapper. See how I'm using names that are particular to that section. I'm not just saying heading wrapper or whatever wrapper. I'm saying, because I'm building a project section, I'm going to call each class name. I'm going to call each element what it is particular to that class name. That is why it's a custom class. It's just custom to that section I'm building. If it is a utility class means something that is not custom. That means you can reuse it elsewhere. For instance, text size large, text size small. It is not a custom. It is a utility. It is a class that can be reused. It's not a custom class. So projects, I'm going to call it what? Projects heading. Yeah. project heading underscore wrapper. That's what I'm going to call it. It's a div block. I'm going to call project heading wrapper. Inside of it, I'm going to bring in a heading, which is this our heading, and it is most likely going to be H2. So I'm going to say you are a H2 and they called you project. All right. And they called you project. And I'm going to come here and download this arrow thing here. I'm just going to export it as SVG and download. That has been done. Ask your question now.
It's our project. Our project.
Okay, our project. Okay, cool. Thank you. Our project. So now inside of the project heading wrapper, we have the H2. We also have an image that is going to house that icon. So you see, this image is going to house that icon. So I bring in my icon. So now we have this element, heading element, and this icon under it. Why are you under? Who can tell me what to do to not make it look like this, vertical like this? What do we do at this point? Yeah? All right, cool. He says on the parent, so this is the parent. I'm going to say, hey, parent, flexbox horizontal. But it is now horizontal, but they are close to each other. What do we do next? Equals this one here. Yes. Space in between. And boom. You see? It has pushed this guy to the end. And see? Easily, we are done with that section. We have this and we have this. But then we are going to make this guy a link. I'm going to make it a link. So how do we do that? I'm going to put this image inside of a div block or a link block. Let's use a link block. We have a link block, something like this. A link block. It's just a link, an empty link, basically. So we have a link block, and I'm going to drag this image inside of it, until it shows me that arrow. It means the image is inside the link block. Boom. And we have that. See? So now that image is now a link. I'm going to call this link block project icon, project icon link. See? Project icon link wrapper, or project icon link. So that means if I preview and I hover on this arrow, it changes to a link. See? That is now a link. We can now link this arrow to whatever page you want to link it to, or wherever. We can link it to an external link, davemars.tech. See, I've linked it to my website. So I click it, it takes me to my website, 2 seconds. So yeah, that's that. And now let us go and let us go and struggle. Let's go and figure out how we'll do the remaining parts. So I'm going to go back to my project components. Before I do that, I'll go back and study my design again. I'll be like, okay, we are done with this first part. How do we handle this part? We are going to create something, a div block that will handle all of this first. And I'm going to call it project content or whatever. Project content. So all of these are the contents of the project section. So let's just call it project content. So back to our project components. I bring in a div block. It's under here. And I'm gonna call it project underscore content. See, we now have that. Okay, ask.
I want to just a quick question, please. Can we nest a grid inside a grid?
Yeah, 100%. You can nest a grid. 100.
Thank you.
All right, you can do that. So we have the project content under it. Now, what do we want to do next? From our design, we want to see project content left, project content right. Project content left is all these parts. project content right is all these parts. Okay, now let's do that. Inside of the project content is the overall name. Now we're going to do a div block again inside of it, or let's just say project item left, project item right. So the first div block would be project item left, which is the left hand part, and let us also put in another div block inside of the project content, though not inside of this one. Another div block, and we are going to say this other one, project item right, project item right. Now good, we have the main project content left, project content right. Now this main project content is having these two children, but these two children are stacked vertically. I want them to be stacked horizontally. I will come here and say, let me go and look at my design again. I want it to be stacked horizontally, or I want to use grid. Yeah, let me use grid. Let me not use flexbox. Let me use grid. So my project content, I want to turn it to a grid. So project content, I'm going to say, I want it to be a grid. Boom. It is now a grid. Done. Inside of this grid, project item left is here. Project item right is here. Left, right, left, right. One is here. The other one is here. So you see, left and right. But I do not need an extra column. So I might just delete this extra down part that is not needed. Just delete it. Sorry. Put it back. Delete the extra row. So I would just say, delete the extra row. Delete. So I just need the left and the right. Left and right. That's what I need. So the content, project content is the grid. These two parts are the children, left and right. Good. Inside of the left, what do we now do? We want to create all of this inside of the left. First is first, we are going to bring in a div block that will handle this image. You can bring in just the image without a div block, or you can put in a div block that will handle the image. Let us bring in a div block just to be safe. There's nothing wrong, but let us bring in a div block that will handle this image. Okay, I will now go to my left hand side, which is this one. Bring in a div block inside that is going to handle the image, and I'm going to call it what? I'm going to call it project item image. Project item image. That's what I call it. Inside of it, I want to bring in an image. Let me just choose an image from before, which is this one. See, we have inserted the image. Now see how I'm explaining steps. Like I'm making it look very easy. From the project content, which is the grid, project item left, everything left. Inside of the left, you know, we have project item image, and we have the image inside. Now, still on the project item left, we want to bring in a div block that will handle all of this orishivishi, the heading, this tiny one, and this paragraph. So everything, this 3 item is going to be inside of a div block. Now, inside of the project item left, let me bring in a div block. Div block is inside, which is under here. I will call it project item text. Everything text, you know, project item text, because it's just a series of texts, you know, or project item text wrapper. So it's the wrapper that is going to wrap everything text. Now, I might now say, okay, great. Just as how the last guy asked, I would want to make this project item left a grid again. This project item left a grid. The grid is powering the image and the project item text wrapper. So these two are the children of this project item left. So making it a grid would place the image and all of this project item text wrapper left and right, side by side. I could use Flexbox, I could use grid, but I want to use grid. I'm going to say, okay, let's make you a grid. Boom. It is now a grid, but I do not need the row part out. So we now have a grid again, which is the children are project item image, project item text wrapper, project item image, project item text wrapper. Inside of this text wrapper is now where we would have our heading, this small tiny heading, this small text, and this paragraph. Let's go and do that. Inside of it, I'm going to bring in a heading, which is like H3, give or take, or H4, no, H3. I'm going to have text block that is going to handle that small text. And I'm going to have a paragraph text that is going to handle, the paragraph. Delete. Paragraph. Good. Just don't mind how it's all scattered. It will all make sense in a bit. So we have the paragraph, heading, small text, and paragraph. Heading is H3. Go back to our guy here, copy this H3, Labule Farms, come here and paste it inside of here. Now for the small text, go there and copy this Ijebu, this stuff, come here and paste it on the small text, and go back here and copy this paragraph, and we'll come here and paste it inside of here. Paste it inside of here. Now we have 1, 2, 3. But we need a reasonable amount of space because we have reasonable amount of space of give or take 1 rem in between all of them. So I'm just going to go to my design and I'll go to that project item text wrapper, the parent that handles the heading, text block, and paragraph. And I'll go and tell it, you are the parent. I need you to be Flexbox vertical. It is already stacked vertically, but you cannot create space without still making it Flexbox vertical like this, vertical. This is when you can now manipulate the spacing in between. Let's just say 1 rem. See? So the Labule Farms, Ijebu, and this guy are now, having gap in between. So I'm going to close this. So we now have the project item image still there, sitting pretty. But then there is this plenty weird space here. But on our design, it is just well seated with very nice amount of space, none of that. So what do? I'm going to click on the project item image, click on the parent, and I'm going to tell it, hey, I want you to stretch because it's just very tiny. I want you to stretch. Oops, sorry, not that guy. I'm going to be on the image, exactly on the image. And I'll say, weird. Okay. I can just come to the image and make it 100%. Because the width is set to auto, I'll just make it 100%. 100%, which means take the full width of your parent. Don't just be tiny. I'm going to give you 100%. Boom. See? It is now big and making sense. See? 100%. That's just the cure. There are other ways you might want to go about it, but yeah, I'll make it 100%. So it takes the entire full width of this project item image. Next thing I want to do, we now have this image. Because I say 100%, Webflow has gave it a very weird class name, which I do not like. I'm going to say, nope, I don't want to use image as the class name. I want to use project item image. Yep, this is where I'll say image. And it say, yo, class name already exists. So I'll go back to this guy and make this image wrapper. So this div block, the name is project item image wrapper because it's wrapping the image. Now we can be free to give this guy project item image without having class name already exists. Boom. So this is the image wrapper. This is the image. Now let us compare what we have to our design. If you notice our design, the image is the entire text part is starting from the top and ending exactly where the image is. But from our own here, that is not the case. You know, the project item text wrapper is not starting from the top and finishing here. The image is kind of big. So I'll probably click on the image, and what I want to do is to study my design again. Oh, this guy is stretched like this. See, very long, but that's not the case for us because of this project item right is pressing our content to squeeze itself, but we'll sort that out in a bit. Let's go to the project item right, which is just this tiny text and this button. Do you have any question at this point? Do we have any question at this point? Are we following? Okay, great. Or Adekunle says it's following. It's just, these things are just logical, a little bit of logic. Just know what is what, where is what. This, if you understand like that, I always say, if you understand it on paper, you can understand it on Webflow. Webflow is not the enemy. Webflow is not the enemy. It's just the logic behind all of these things. Understand it on paper, then you're good to go. So now let's deal with the right hand side. The right hand side has just a text. Oops. The right hand side has just a text block, which is this text block that says duration 3 months. I'm just going to paste that here. Duration 3 months. And the right hand side also has a button, this button, but I'll just come up here and copy this button. I'm just going to copy it and I'm going to scroll down. I'm going to delete this one. I'm going to paste this one. All right, shoot your shot.
I think that if you are to copy that button, it's a big button. Since we have small buttons, tiny buttons inside the guide, you can just copy that.
Okay, let's see. Let's test run what you said. This button, let's check from our design. Yeah, this button is a little bit smaller. The font is more of 24 pixels. Why this one? It's basically the same button, 24 pixels. So they are the same. They're not different. So this view details and this contact us, they are the same button. Because this view details, contact us is long because of the typography or the spelling. View details is kind of short. So you would think this button is smaller, but it is not exactly small, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, they are the same button. So we have view details and we have this up and down. But then they are too close to each other. We don't want that. What do? We go to the parents and say, yo, I don't want you to be close to each other. I want you guys to be far apart. And I want you guys to be at the far right. Please be at the far right. Do not be close to this guy. I'll just come here and say, okay, let's make it go to the far right. What do? I think I'm going to justify the parents. You see how I'm mostly on the parents. I'm going to try to justify it here. Boom. It has gone to the far right, to the end. And I'm going to align it, stretch it. Boom. Did not work. Cool. I'm going to try a different approach. I'm going to make it flexbox. I'm going to say vertical. I'm going to say up and down, start to end, justify. This is top, center, end, up and down. Boom. That is solved. 2 seconds. But then we still have this weird issue of this project right item is almost pressing my guy. Cannot breathe. We need this guy to be much more longer. So what I'm going to do I'm going to go to the overall grid, the first grid, which is this Oga Pata Pata project content. And I'm going to do that same thing that we did earlier. I'm going to give this first side, this first section, more FRs. I'm going to say maybe 2 FR. See, 2 FR made it longer. I don't know if that's the best way to solve it, but we will see. And yeah, let's see, 2 FR. I don't know if that's the best way. There are so many decisions to be made. It did not. We're going to make it maybe more FRs. I'm going to say, nope, that did not work. And this guy is getting bigger. Let me take away this width for a second. This is how this image should be, this small. This is how it should be, that small. So we're going to find a different approach. I'm going to try to do like this for a while. And I'm going to try to find, let me close all of this first. So look at what we've done so far. This is the head project content, the first grid that we made, that is housing all of this guy and this guy. So project item left is these two together. Now I want to make them to be close to each other because, so let me try and justify left. That did not work. Let me try and align left from here. Okay, if you have, okay, speak.
Yeah, I'm saying maybe for instance now, can we make like that the content after the image? Maybe we should take 70% of its parents. Maybe now at least maybe 70%, that will make it closer to that image.
Okay, great.
Like
All right, cool. So this image, let's give it, okay, great. That's a good one. Now this project item image, let's give it maybe 40%. Okay, maybe let's give this one, let me try 100% and see. Okay, it did not work. Okay, yeah, I think I know what is happening. This left, project item left, is also a grid. So look at the edit button for the grid. So let's go and click it. Yeah, so this is where we are going to touch these two guys. So I'm going to give this Labule Farms, which is the text wrapper, I'm going to give it more FR2. Boom, solved. 2 FR. I gave it 2 FR, and I'm going to give this. Okay, let me make this one 100%. Okay, great. We're almost there. If not, we are there already. And I'm going to give this first guy, instead of 1 FR, this guy, I'm going to give it maybe, should I say 0.5 FR? Good. More smaller. So 0.5 FR for the first item or cell, and 2 FR for the second guy. And yep, that is solved. That is solved. Sometimes grid can be a little bit, weird and overwhelming. We just have to start tweaking, trying different possibilities. This one did not work. Scratch it. On to the next. What can I do next? Scratch it. So yeah, that's what, because this project item is also a grid, so we have these two. So now they are close to each other. And we have the right hand side, project item right, which is this. They are far apart and space in between. And I think that is basically it. We've sorted that part. Now, another thing we need to take into consideration, you see, project is having space. There's a reasonable amount of space between project and the whole Labule Farms content in between. So what do? I'm going to click on this project content. This project content is what is housing everybody aside the heading. And I'm going to give it a margin top. I'm going to just give it a margin of maybe 60 pixels, which is equivalent to like 4M. Let's say 4M, give or take. Yeah, around 4M. And we have that beautiful spacing in between. If you think it's too much or too small, you can increase it or decrease it. So we have our project, we have the button, and we have the whole Labule Farm thing, and we have this guy here. Now, the next thing we're going to do is very simple. We're not going to go through the entire process again because we want to do this one for Lagos State and for Brussels. We're just going to duplicate, copy and paste. Ask your question.
Before we duplicate, the duration 3 months and the button, they are not, I think we need to make just in the alignment.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So this duration has to like go to the edge. Okay. Who has a question? Ask. All right. Anyone with a question? Okay. It looks like no one is with a question. All right. Cool. So, yep. This duration has to maybe touch the edge so it matches with this guy. So I'll just come here and click on the project item right. Click on the text block itself. The text block is misbehaving. So I'll have to just check here and see alignment and order. See, before it was hidden. So most times you won't know that this is what you're supposed to do. Alignment and order, and you click on align right. Boom. It has pushed it to the right. And that's it. But then it created us this very weird class name of text block. I don't want that. I'm just going to call it duration. Just call it duration. No stress. Duration. All right. Ask. Oops. Who has a question? Nobody, yeah? Great.
There is an icon. We've not added the icon.
Oh, okay. All right. Give me a second. Let me plug in my laptop. Oh. All right. Someone talked about an icon. Let's see what we're talking about here. What icon? Okay, this Ijebu, the icon, yeah? This one?
Yeah.
All right. So for this one, I'm just going to download it. I'm going to export it as, I'm going to export it as, what's this guy on my screen? Jesus. Export it as a PN, an SVG, download it. Now for this part, this labule, Jebodi, I mean to say. Now we have just a text block, but because this is what I was trying to explain to Brian, because we now have something extra attached to the text block, this is where you now use a div block. Inside the div block, you now want to have the icon and the Jebodi inside. If not, there is no possible way to achieve this. So I'm going to click on here. I'm going to add a div block. Div block has been added. Now I'm going to drag my text block, which is the Jebodi, inside of the empty div block. I'm now inside of the div block. I will now add an image that is going to handle the icon. Added. Click on choose image. Come here and drag that icon inside of it. It is now added inside, but the image comes first. Drag it up of the hierarchy. Now this div block, I won't leave it as just div block. I'm going to call it project description. Project item description wrapper if you want to. Oh yeah, project item description. That's what I'll call it. Now I'm going to make it flexbox. I mean, that's the usual. And I'm just going to add a little bit amount of spacing. So the Jebodi is not, yep, maybe 12 pixel. I think maybe 10 pixel. Yeah, 10 or whatever RAM you want to, use. Okay, great. So that's it. Any other question? Don't pass now. Wait, let me. Okay, who has a question? Hannah, shoot.
Yeah, so the duration and the location, the text are faded. So do you have to already put that in the side, or you can just maybe do like a combo or something?
Okay, for where is it? The Jebodi, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, now for the Jebodi, it's gray. So what I'm going to do, there is a class name for that, and I'm just going to say text color gray. Boom, it's now gray, and that's it. Text color gray, that's the class name for making stuff gray, making text gray. Text color gray. And what else?
So it's also something that you pre.
Now it's part of the client first style guide, you know.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think this duration thing is also gray, sort of.
Yeah.
So you can just also do that, click on it instead of, okay, now we've given it a unique class name. You can just come and edit it yourself and say, okay, that duration should have like a grayish kind of font. Yeah, this is where you are permitted to customize things because it's a custom class. Capish? All right, what other question should I ask?
The button is not well aligned.
Okay. Oh, okay. So yeah, why still clicking on the button, still on still, just come here and say, line it here. No, I don't think so. So I'm clicking on it. I think it's aligned. I think it is.
Based on what you got on the design.
Okay, let me see the design. What am I supposed to be seeing at this point? Is it not?
Okay, I mean, it's right aligned, but it seems a bit bigger on our own.
Okay, maybe our own is a little bit bigger. So what to do? We can just, because of the padding is kind of like plenty, we can call it is small. I think there is a class name for is small. So we can just say is small, is small. Boom. Yeah, so it has made the button a little bit smaller, giving it 1.5, 1.25. We can even go ahead and say 1.2, even much more smaller. 1.2, 1.2, 1.2, and yeah, I think it's a little bit smaller now compared to how it was before, I guess. Now at this point, we can now copy and paste the entire thing, which is the project's content. We can undo copy and paste, about 4 of them. So we now have these 4, which I think is great. Yeah. So yep. And that is all. Once you build once, you just duplicate and you have that. And that's it. That is just it. All right. What's the question I should ask?
For this type of scenario where you have, I believe, the project will be like dynamic content. That is, the number of projects can increase or decrease depending on the situation, right?
Yeah.
So I'm asking, would it be better to use something like CMS, where we build it once and then depending on number that you add, it will keep increasing?
Yeah. That's also a very solid question. Now, this could be dynamic content if it were calling from the CMS, you know, instead of creating all of this, but you still create the structure like this, but then you just tie each of this to the collection field that you've created in the CMS. But I think CMS is something we're going to handle. We're going to talk about when we are trying to build out this blog section. For instance, this blog, we're not just going to build it out static like this as cards. We're going to build it out. It's going to populate based on the CMS, how many blogs we have on the CMS. If it's 6 blogs, we'll most likely have 6 cards. If it is 10 blogs, we may not have 10 cards. We may just have 3 cards like this. But there will be like a button that will take us to more blogs or view all blogs and take us to the blog page. But on the home page, we just have 3 cards like this. Yeah, so when we get to that part, so when we get to the blog part, then, you know, we would talk about it. I think that is where, that'll probably be on Saturday. Tomorrow is Saturday, I guess. And tomorrow, Michael is still not here. Michael, are you here? Michael is still not here. Okay, great. Michael will most likely handle that part because he's going to handle the blog part. I was hoping I would build out that part the blog today. So he will just come and talk on some functionalities on blog stuff. But yeah, let's assume we are done with this section. It's just to fill in up the text, all these text changes, but we're not going to do that. It's very easy. Now, what clients have to say, let's build that. What client has to say. Now, let me talk about something else. Let me talk about components. Let me talk about using components instead of building all of these things from scratch. How you can leverage things like Reloom components. So Reloom is also like it's a library. It's a library of components. It's a world of components. I use Reloom a lot. There are some things I don't build from scratch at all. Even this project, as it stands, as it looks like this, I probably may not build this whole part from scratch, or like what clients have to see. It's a testimonial section. I most likely will not build it from scratch. I'll just, make use of Reloom, and yep, that's what I'll do. Let me just take this all out, something like this. So this is Reloom. Most of you must have used it before. Just have to like log in. I have different accounts with Reloom, which is just have to log in and shoot. So this is Reloom basically. So what I need to do, how I use Reloom, it's also something we'll talk about. Now look at this event page. Look at this event page. See how we have this like this. It's mostly giving that page that we just finished building. See, so instead I'll just get it from here and just use. But this one is most likely CMS powered, I think. So what I'll do is I'll just come here to say components. Let me just go to components, maybe testimonials. Testimonials, this is testimonials. And I'm going to look at my design. Look at how it is. Image here, plenty right up to the right. Image right up. So I'll just come here and say, okay, let's find something that is similar to that. I'll just start scrolling. This one is almost giving, but it's not. So this guy is exactly how it is. But then it's not free. It's a paid something. This one too, it's, exactly. But it's not free. So you just have to pay for it. The free ones are like a couple of them, maybe 3 or 4 of them. If you come here and say, hey, I just want to see the free ones, I want the ones that are free components, check on this free component. It's just 2. It's just 2. So let's pretend like this was how it looks like on the design. I'll just come here and copy it. Very simple. Copy it. I'll go to my Webflow and I'll just paste it. Where do I paste it? Let's collapse. Is it collapse or expand? Let's collapse all of them. So hero section is here. This section. We have 4 solid sections built. The next is the testimonial section. I'll just click on this main wrapper because it's your guy that's wrapping every section, and I'll just paste Ctrl V. Boom. Section testimonial has been pasted. So once you scroll, you see your beautiful testimonial here. Let's pretend that's how it's been built. Let's just pretend. So yes, within a few seconds, you have that. If you need to make changes, it's just small touches here and there. Now, the way it was built is using client first, how Reloom was built. So if you open, you see padding global. Because we've used it before, it's renamed it for us to padding global 2. You might just come here and take it out and say, use your own normal padding global that is not 2. You can open it again. You see container large. This was how they built it using client first. Instead of using this 2 repeated class, take it out and use your own normal container large that is just without the number 2. See here, they use padding section large, which is same with our own. And this is the remaining style that they use to build it. They use max width, they use testimonial components, they use all of these things, all of that things, all of this thing, all of that. So that's it. That's just very simple. Now the design, the write-up is not bold, but from the components, the write-up is bold. So I'm just going to take it out and leave it like this. The write-up is 24 pixel. I will just go and use, there's a class I remember using, text 24, text size 24 pixel. Boom. That's what I'm going to use. That's the class name I'm going to use. And for here again, I think basically give or take, that's Mark Austin is bold. That's the name. The name is bold also here, so no stress. Mark Austin, the position is CEO Fresh Food Farm. Copy it, come here and paste it here, you know. And you know, what else are we looking at? What else are we looking at? The image. Oh well, we are not using that style because most of the one that is exact is not free. So I just had to use another one that is free to just show us how you can use Reloom to hasten up your work ASAP without having to build from scratch. Just have to copy and paste, then just tweak some things. So I do that a lot. If you're looking for nav bar, they have like amazing nav bars, man. They have amazing nav bars, you know, different kinds of nav bars that just works, you know. You can even test it. You can even preview it. If you click, you can like preview it and you see how it is. You see nav bars, you can copy it, you know. This one is free, this one is free, this one is free. These three at the top are free. All these ones are not free. This one is like a mega nav. You can even view it, a mega nav, you know. See how it's looking, very good, mega nav. So you don't have to start building mega navs from scratch. I mean, who builds nav from scratch? I don't. I just get Reloom component and I just use it and move on with my life. You know, see badass navs. Because the amount of time you spend building nav, if you don't use and do other things, well, that's the funny truth. So I use this a lot. Okay, ask. They even have navs like this. Okay, who has a question should ask? Is it a question? Yeah.
So can you see the code? Like I think code. Those nested packages on the like to view it.
Yeah. Like
view it for Reloom.
Like, yeah, you can see it on your Webflow now. You can see it on your Webflow. Love this.
Yeah, something like this here. Can you see it from their site?
This is just the live link of how it looks like. Oh yeah, you can always inspect it and see how it's done if that's what you're asking for. Everything is built like normal HTML and CSS. Everything.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just everything is built perfectly, you know. So yeah, so that is for nav. You can get hero footer. You can even get footer. I don't build footers at all. That's the last thing you will see me building from scratch. Here you are whining me. Just come here and copy one footer. Even Webflow footer, say, just use Webflow footer and just, you know, tweak it. So yeah, this is, they have lots of categories. So there are lots of things I don't build from scratch. It's because of the course of this class. I'm just building from scratch, just so you guys understand. But I would advise you understand how to build from scratch. Let your hand be solid before you start taking advantage of stuff, so that it's easier for you to tweak it, edit it to make it fit your design. They have pricing sections. You know how pricing pages can be. So sometimes I don't even build pricing pages. If I just come and say, oh, this design, this is how it's looking like, I'll just come to Reloom and say, oh, that design is looking like this. Oh, nice. You see, this is some solid ass complex pricing page. Just come here and say, whoa, where is the copy? Go there and copy it straight up and paste it on your design, you know, and just tweak some things, you know, and just make some edits and you are good to go. So they also have click on view more. They have FAQ, frequently asked questions sections that you don't have to, with accordions, you know, very nice. So you don't have to like stress to start building accordion from scratch. Just come and copy it and go and paste it on your design and you're done. If it's not exactly how it is, that's where you want to like tweak it and edit it and all of that stuff. So yeah, that's something else I do most parts of my build. All right, what other question should ask?
I think we put our navbar now.
We should what?
Put the navbar. We should collect it from Reloom.
Yeah, exactly. Stuff like that. You can just copy the navbar. Okay, we've not done navbar, yeah? You can just say navbar. Let's look at our design. Navbar is giving Navbar is giving very simple, clean navbar. You know, just go to Reloom and see, it's most likely looking like this. So you see, and it's free. Just come here, copy. I've copied it. Come to my Webflow, and you are going to paste it not inside of your main wrapper. Navbar is not inside of all of these guys. Very important thing to note. Paste it instead inside of your page wrapper. I'm gonna just paste it like this. It's at the down, but I'm gonna take it up. So it's at the up. So you see, navbar is not inside of my main wrapper. It is not. It is on its own, outside of the main wrapper, standing alone, but inside of the page wrapper. This page wrapper is the oga pata carrying everybody. Is the overhead overseer of all parents. It has no styling. It's just there. It's the boss. You know, with it, you can just copy an entire full website. You've copied it. Control C, copy. You've copied an entire full page. That's why this page wrapper is there. Yeah, that's it. So if you open it, you now see your navbar standing strong. Preview. Navbar is standing strong. But we don't need this style of hover because it's not on our design. So I'll just go inside here and delete it. See this drop down thing? Delete. Gone. The logo. I'll come to this thing here and copy this Sun Direct logo. I'm gonna export it. I'm gonna export it as an SVG, and I've downloaded it. And I'll just come to my here, and I'll go to my logo here, and I'll just bring it inside here. I think I brought the wrong thing. Bring it inside here. Boom, that is done. Now our own has a white background. It's not supposed to, right? So I'm just going to go to that thing that has white background, which is this navbar component. So you have to know what is what, which is which. If not, you will get confused and you will just get lost. This navbar component is what is having white background. So I'll scroll down to background and I'll look for it. Okay, most likely not it. Most likely not it. Okay, yeah. Most likely it. So I'll just come here and see I'm changing it to red. I'll just take it to transparent without any color. Now, what do I do next? And I'm going to come here and say we have home, about, service, project. I'm going to say home, about, service. Now I'm just going to copy. See this 1, 2, 3. I'm going to copy it again, copy and paste, and say project. See this button, I will just copy this one here and I'm going to just paste it here, and I'll delete their own. I don't need their own, but I'm going to put a small here, so it's a smaller one. It's small, and I'm going to call it get a quote. So I'm going to call it here get a quote. Then this background is still white. Okay, I'm going to sort out in a bit. Now, why that is white, let's preview and see what we have overall. So we have this looking good. Now, this is white because of something. I'm going to make this nav component, I'm going to make it float on our hero section. So this our hero section background is under it, and I'm going to make it fixed at the top. So when I scroll, it will not go, it will just be fixed and constant without going out. That's what I want to do. So I'm going to go back to the overall head, which is this guy, the navbar component, and I'm going to scroll down here, and I'll come to this position, and I'll say fixed. Once you say fixed, boom, you've solved the problem. Problem solved. It no longer has a background. because it's now using the background of your hero section, which is that image. And from our design, all the text happens to be white. Now go back and say, okay, all of you are white. So I'll just click on the navbar link. If I change one text to white, everything is going to change to white because they are all using the same class name. So I'll just pick one and I'll scroll down to color and I'll drag it up to white. And I think case solved. If I come here, we have like a little bit underline, maybe on hover. I'm just going to come here again, still on one of the nav links. And I'm going to just say on hover, I want you to have an underline border that is more like a yellow color. Let's have it. Let's have it. We have that. And I want it to be maybe 2 pixel thick. And that is done. And I want the transition to happen smoothly. When you hover, let it just happen sweetly at 400. So yeah. So when you hover, we have that weird thing happening. But I think the transition I give it is too much. Maybe 200. Yeah, let's add 200. So most likely like that. And what else? There's a line here. There's a black line on the nav. I don't want that. That black line is coming from this head again, this nav bar component, because when you scroll down, you will see under border, we have this and black. I'll just click here and say, I don't want you to have any color. Reset everything. Just do not have any color. And boom, that is how you format or you edit a component that you stole. Let me use the word steal. So yeah, we have this. So when you start scrolling, that guy is just there. But look at what's happening. Because other backgrounds are white, it's kind of not visible like this. So we may want to add an interaction that when you scroll past the hero section, let it have a black background. Let the nav have a black background. But that's not something we'll do today. We've come this far. So we've sorted out lots of the section, all of it. So this way we are at, we've done the, testimonial. So this is the blog. These ones are Akara. So if you guys can also build up to this point that I've done, I keep saying it, no jokes. No jokes. It will mean a lot. It's not about me. It's about you learning. It's one thing. I know what I'm saying. It's one thing to pay attention to me and feel, this is easy. So another thing to actually do it and practice it and know that you did it. Very important. Very, very super duper important. So I think it's 2 hours already. We're going to stop here for today. So tomorrow, Michael is going to handle blog and functionality. Michael is going to handle blogs and functions. So he will build out this blog. He will talk on the CMS. He will talk on everything CMS, blog, functionalities. When you click on this, what happens? Yeah. Which is introduction to attributes by FinSuite. It's another thing that after client phase is attributes. Attributes handles logic, and I'm sure some of you know it already. So yeah, so far so good. So far so good. So any question, any confusion, any concerns or whatsoever? Before that, I'm going to stop the recording.